So here to solve the Star Battle puzzle by Grant Fikes called Hooks. And let's start by just thinking about the theme. This is something you'll do when you get a puzzle with a title theme and say, what's the theme coming from? The theme here comes to a shape that I'm seeing a total of 6 times in the grid. And before we get too far, let's just look at one instance of the shape. It's got 5 hexagons, which is pretty constraining. The most interesting cell that's touching it is probably this one, because this eliminates 4 cells straight away, and we see it will share the row or diagonal with the hook as well. So the center of the hook, the kind of what sits in the crook of the hook, can't be used, and that's true here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. Coming back, though, to marking in all the hooks, often in a Star Battle puzzle, you want to look at regions together, which may end up giving a special kind of elimination. And so when we get all of these colored in, you may notice some interesting traits about a few of them as pairs. In this case, let's take this one in blue and let's recolor this one over here also in blue. Notice that there are 2 rows that are used by these hooks, and those are the only rows these groups sit in. And each of them is going to have 1 star, let's say here or here, but those stars are going to remove all the other spots in those rows. And so that's one pair of hooks that's doing some double duty in this puzzle. Another is actually this one if I recolor yellow into red. Notice red along this diagonal, there are 2 diagonals that are using the same positions, and so that cancels all of these off. And starting to give a ton of eliminations around the grid, but maybe not looking yet at the third option at the start of this puzzle for a way to look. And that's a way that's very common across Star Battles in general, is there's often a way that either rows or columns, in this case diagonals, are limited when you look across a lot of regions at the same time. So let's look at the bottom. We've got one huge region in white that's taking up a lot of the bottom as well as this region in orange. In the bottom 2 rows, we need to take a white cell and an orange cell or it doesn't complete, which would clue you into the fact that when you're 3 rows up, you really just have only 1 cell from a 3rd region that sits in this space. And so this cell is often the first people will find in this puzzle. But what we'll recognize is, well, that on its own cancels some cells. Being able to cancel this position and being able to cancel this position from the other logic we already gave now gives us a unique spot in this bottom group, gives us this star for sure. As we cancel up and around these groups, let's get this diagonal, and let's get this diagonal. We now have a star that's got to go here, and a star that's got to go here. That's canceling some cells around. We've got a star that goes in this position. This one comes down and cancels here, which pushes a star up, pushes a star down. That finishes this diagonal, finishes this diagonal. We now must have a star here, which pushes this up, pushes this up. And as we mark in the last diagonal cells, we have 1 remaining position for the last star. So great, easy start for a Monday, but hopefully through this video you got a sense of different ways to look at a puzzle, scrutinize the theme, figure out if there are things about the theme that help you out. Seeing blue versus red, seeing the center of these positions, and ultimately seeing that there are not many regions at the bottom. Those are the 3 different ways to look at this puzzle and make some headway. So hopefully you got a sense from this video of how to solve the Star Battle and future Star Battles as well. Thanks, we'll see you again soon.